Councilor Julsrud.
Thank you, President Krug. I started working on this issue as soon as the signs went up about 1.5 years ago, and I share your frustration. I started working on it on behalf of constituents and friends that are horseback riders, and then during that process encouraged my husband, who is a lifelong horse lover himself and has always dreamed of having a paint. We found an old, stable, solid horse named Ozzy who needed a loving home, and I encouraged him to purchase him, and we've since rehabilitated him where his ribs are no longer showing. I put his first shoes on him this past year. He's about 16 years old, and he's never had shoes. He's never had a farrier. His legs were always bowed back because his hooves were too long. And he's turned out to be a great horse for our 2 kids that love riding him on the Amity trails. And my frustration has grown as I was promised by city staff that those signs would be removed when the culverts were put in. And I watched after the flood repair, after we received lots of money to mitigate stormwater in that area in relation to the trout stream, and have watched that trail significantly dry up. It's a stable, solid trail and can support the use of lots of users, including horses. I've researched horse manure and how it affects the surrounding water or people, and there really are no adverse effects to horse manure. It's very different than animal feces of other types. And I've continued to press the staff and have been continuously told that they would be removed, including this past week. And I will pointedly ask administration, are you going to remove the signs this week or next?
And President Krug and Councilor Julsrud, as Director Philby Williams mentioned, we've got some additional culvert work to do. It's on the schedule to be done, and as soon as that culvert work is done, we'll be ready to go with the trails. And so we think we should complete that work, and then we'll be ready to open those trails.
Thank you, Mr. Montgomery.
I guess I share the view of Jerry, who said that this sort of decision is really arbitrary and not based on solid facts. And I've pressed staff and administration for solid, concrete facts and have never received any of them. And because of that, I would like to move forward with trail designation prior to another additional 10 culverts on that trail. I think it's really great that we're getting that kind of money to do that, but I run that trail, I bike that trail, I horseback ride that trail, and I know that it's solid and it should not require more trails. So in addition, I'd like to ask Mr. Gunner, Mr. Johnson, this is a resolution, so it's really a suggestion of the administration. My preference is that this be in the form of an ordinance, so I'd like to see something come back in the form of an ordinance. Is that true, Mr. Johnson? A resolution is not law.
President Krug, Councilor Julsrud, the resolution is basically the order or the direction of the council. The ordinance does set forth a law that is put into our city code, so that is the difference between the two.
So we would eventually need to change, we would need to bring forward an ordinance.
President Krug, Councilor Julsrud, I guess I wouldn't direct that. I think you have an ordinance already about designation of trails, and that ordinance refers to a couple different ways to designate them, and one of them is through resolution. So I think that is in place unless there's some change, and we can talk about that certainly.
The other problem that I want to bring up, and I know that you cut me off at the
No, Councilor Julsrud, but you're addressing this resolution, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So the other issue that I want to address is the fact that when you do read the city code in relation to this issue, it becomes very clear that all of our user trails throughout the city and our parks are really must be designated for that specific use so they cannot be, bikers can't bike on certain trails in the city unless it's specifically designated by resolution or a ordinance of the council. And
Councilor
so
Julsrud?
it is, I don't like being cut off by you on a regular
Julsrud,
basis.
you are out of order.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are out of order.
I was elected by the people
Councilor
of my
Julsrud,
district.
you are out of order.
And you cut people off on a regular.
Councilor Julsrud, you are out of order. We have a resolution in front of us. If you would like to address that resolution, you can speak. If you want to talk with the administration about city codes, then you want to make an appointment afterward to talk with them about it. I'm sorry, Councilor, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson, would you please instruct Councilor Julsrud to address the resolution?
Councilors, I don't run the meetings, but I'm happy to address any, and the meeting is run by the president of the council.
Thank you, Councilor Attorney Johnson. I'm going to move on to Councilor Gardner. Councilor Julsrud, I'm going to move on to Councilor Gardner, and I will come back to you to address this resolution.